Welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG here and Hex Tangent.
Yo,
What's
sorry
happening,
about the
dude?
late. It was my fault that we're late.
No, that's my fault as well, dude. I turned up way late.
That countdown clock seems to be fast because I was looking at the live counter compared to the second, like the seconds ticking over on the live counter compared to the countdown clock, and the countdown clock is just like
It's on my end. It's right. So I don't know. It must be
okay.
something weird happened on that. In that, I'm not sure. Have we might have had a failed launch attempt, because I had like I saw a box popped up here I've never seen before that said the stream had been unexpectedly shut down.
Weird.
So I don't know what happened there, but we're live now, I guess. Give us a thumbs up if we're live. Actually, speaking of thumbs up, why don't you click the thumbs up, the like and subscribe? That would be cool. So, dude, what's happening?
This thing claims, this thing claims we're live. The audio's sounding good. All good. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, just general. What's happening, dude? What have you been up to?
Getting wrecked mainly, and finding out all these interesting new ways to lose money in crypto. What else? I've moved a little bit of my attention back to AI in a very minor way. I'm pretty much still fully focused on crypto, trying to break the game open, break the matrix and whatnot. Heaps of exciting stuff been going on PulseChain, man. Like, did you see Coast opened up to like lots of new countries with their PulseChain fiat on and off ramps? Okay,
I didn't know that.
So their list expanded. Ty was telling me that Barista's pretty much done. It is done. It's just waiting for Liquid Loans to launch so that they can launch their front end, which is really exciting. That stuff all sounds really close. What else? Heaps of stuff has been going on. New bridges, new protocols. Petius launched their token, and that's like my favorite aggregator. And then someone told me there's another aggregator called Firebird, I think. That's also, I haven't tested it yet, by the way, so I don't even know if it actually works on PulseChain. But apparently, Firebird is like a multi-chain DEX aggregator. I don't think it bridges though, like i.e. it DEX aggregates within a single chain, and then they have multiple chains available for that. So they've got multiple chains listed on their site, but they don't actually go across chain, is my current understanding. I might be wrong about that.
Gotcha.
So that's interesting. Sometimes
that's a nice top, by the way. I like that.
Oh top. Yeah, thanks. It's a Tang Gang one. It's a Tang Gang top. It's like an orange that's been cut in half, but it's in the shape of a heart. I wore this on the stream that I did yesterday. So I did a stream yesterday on this channel. Oh wait, on the other channel. Are you dueling this one?
Yeah. This is on Discourse Syndicate and on DeFi Down Under.
So if you're watching this on DeFi Down Under, then my statement was correct that I did a stream on that channel for doing some PRC20 TA, and I wore this top. Yeah. So it's all good. Like, there's heaps of stuff going on. It's always surprising to me when people haven't heard of Petius, and then shockingly, I hadn't heard of this other one called Firebird. So
how long's that?
I need to do the side-by-side comparison. I've only looked at a few, and for the few that I've checked, Petius is better, right? Like, it's got better, its smart routing is superior, and it gets you a better price. But I'm still interested to just keep checking, because the person that told me about it was pretty hype and thought that one was better. So I was like, all right, well, let's do. I'm going to start doing that thing again where every time I want to do any trade at all, I pull them both up side by side. I put them both in. I check which one gives you the better output.
You're doing you're doing a more regular, I guess not to be regular in the sense that it's at the same time every week, but you're going to be doing something like every week, I'm guessing.
I'm going to try and do weekly at the most infrequent, like, so at least weekly. And,
okay. Yep.
you know, so
that's something you can do on that stream as well. That could be just something that you actually do as a, like you could get those 2 DEX aggregators and put them next to each other.
Yeah. Because you don't even need a wallet connected. It'll give you the estimates. Yeah, exactly right. You could actually just run through. Good point. Yeah, so the first stream that I did was completely sponsored by one entity that just said that they wanted the sponsorship to be stated as being the Tang Gang and just do all the Tang Gang coins. And then as soon as I told people that had happened, more and more people were saying to me, "No, I want to get involved in this thing and get my coin on there," and that sort of thing. So it looks like it won't be very many episodes where it's just Tang Gang coins. It looks like we're going to get a variety of PRC20s from across the spectrum.
I think that's what you want. I mean,
if you want. Yeah. I don't want it to be repetitive of the same coins every week.
Yeah.
So it's just while we're getting it off the ground, because obviously not many people know about the show yet. So then the participation's low. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? It's like the show hasn't blown up yet, but without it blowing up, people don't know about it on how to participate with the Dilly DAO and that sort of thing. So we'll just chill it. It's on the DeFi Down Under channel. And just go check it out. It's not hyped up. It's not.
What's it called? It's got its own name. It's called Dilly's Down Under.
Dilly's Down Under, and episode 1 explains all how it works and also has all the like NFA disclaimers and stuff like that. So if you guys want to know more about that, episode 1. If you want to actually see an example of what it's actually going to be in terms of the show itself, because the first episode is very dry, very boring, but the second episode is an example of what it's going to be like. But just imagine it being with all different coins rather than just that one set of coins.
Yeah. But that first episode is like your disclaimers, like everything that you want.
Yeah.
So you don't have to repeat it every time. Hey, I was thinking, like you're a member of the Tang Gang. I am not. I'm not a member of it.
Well, I guess it's a bit like Satoshi, right? It's like a we are all Satoshi thing. Like, as in, you don't really become a member of the Tang Gang. Yeah, I'm in the Telegram. I'm in the Telegram, and I do interact with those guys. But I don't consider myself to be like a...
No, because if I was to become... I am not, by the way. But if I was to... I was thinking this week, I have like the best like name to just... If I wanted to become a Tang Gang member... I have the best name. I would just be like 43 OJ. That would be like, I would easily. And then the O could be like but I'm not. And I'm not going to be. And I don't know.
They call me Tang. They call me Tangent instead of Tangent.
Yeah,
it's just Tangent.
Yeah.
So I've got, dude, it's so memeable. It's so memeable that for like the first, so it was about a week in before anyone thought about Orange Man like Trump.
Yeah.
And then it's like every week someone's like, oh, what about this idea? This would be another one that was missed was, the TV show Orange is the New Black. Yeah. People didn't think about that. It's like, because it's so memeable and everyone was just going off on these different paths. We completely missed super, super obvious ones. So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, I think at one point someone made me like an admin in that Telegram chat and then someone else took it away. So, but yeah, like I'm not any more of a sort of a member or whatever than anyone else. There's lots of people are coming in there though.
I listened to, and it was actually a stream that you told me about a few days ago, and I was, even though there's never there's never a lack of things to listen to. There's never a lack of information that you can, pour into your mind.
Like content, yeah.
There's always something. It's just like, what do I feel like right now? And the other day I was like, wanted to go out and shoot the basketball for like an hour. And I threw on Cookies Orca.
Yep.
He did a stream with Corey.
Yep.
About, I don't know how long.
What did you think?
It was good. It was a good stream, and I really take what I took out of it was that what you guys are like, what the Tang Gang is really about, is about ultimately it's about adoption, and it's about bringing adoption to PulseChain, and doing it in a way that is not just buy PulseChain, like not in the like that straightforward way. A way where it's revolves around community.
It's like, instead of doing the pushy car salesman, like, hey, this is the asset you want. This is the one you want. You buy this car, buy this car, buy this car. It's like the hey man, like come to the dealership. We're throwing like an after hours party thing. There's going to be music and champagne and people just vibing out. We've got artists and musicians and we've got all this cool shit going on. Oh, and by the way, it happens to be inside a car dealership. Like, and so you're going to see all the like late model Audis and like Lambos and Volkswagens or whatever, right? And then so it's the soft sell, enjoyable soft sell, no pressure pitch of coming to PulseChain. And by the way, it's working hard. Like we've got more cross-chain community in that Telegram than anywhere I've ever seen in all of crypto in my entire life. And they chose to do it on PulseChain, by the way, right? Like, so
that's good.
So people, like the people that are giving them heat, it's like they could have done it on ETH. They could have done it on like some other thing. They could have they could have actively tried to, because there's some guys in there that actually speak pretty negatively about PulseChain, right? They call it a LARP chain and stuff like this. And so they could have taken an active hostile stance against PulseChain. But instead, the whole thing is built on PulseChain. Like it's the majority of stuff that happens in that group is all on PulseChain. So that has to be a good thing. Like I'm fairly convinced it's a net positive.
Yeah, so that's what I took out of it, that was the attitude that's being taken to it. So yeah, I agree. Like things can't, it's not, some people can hear the car salesman pitch and it's the right pitch for them, and other people are repelled by that sort of pitch.
I'm in that category.
So to have like something else that filters people into PulseChain is a good thing. And if people are having fun, that's good as well. But look, ultimately what we're doing here is this is the HEX Late Show, because this show revolves around HEX. And I'm just wondering, have you checked out the new the new site that I only found out about?
Oh, I loaded it up once.
tsharedata.com. Is that the one that?
No, mine was the one. Didn't Richard tweet out a new front end?
Oh, hexcrypto.com or hexcrypto.io. Let me have a look.
Yeah, it was something like that. The last thing I'll say while we're loading this up is people have noticed the low fee environment on PulseChain, by the way. All those cross communities that have come over to check shit out are like, oh, whoa, what? I can do this thing and it's like nearly free. By the way, the fees have got so low on PulseChain now, in a combination of activity lowering and also from the price going down, that now in Rabby Wallet, it rounds it to 0. So to 2 decimal places, when it tells you that what the fee is going to cost in dollars, it's like $0.00. So it's obviously less than half a cent because it's rounding down, right? It's rounding down to 0. So that's pretty cool to see that it like appears to be free to the nearest cent to transact on PulseChain. Obviously, it depends what you're doing. So yeah, pretty cool. So what's this site? tsharedata.com.
Hang on, let me just bring up the one that you mentioned first.
Oh, okay.
This is hexcrypto.com. It seems to me that this is a site put together by, Hex Toys. I could be wrong. Is this a
Oh,
Hex
okay.
Toys? Hex Toys, did they put this together? Because I'm just looking at the favicon up on the tab.
I think I did hear that. I don't know whether you're like inceptioning that memory into my mind.
No, well,
But-
the reason I think that is because I'm looking, you know how on the tab of the browser, it's got like a little icon that's called a favicon. That icon.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So that icon, it
Yes,
looks
that's
to
theirs.
me
Yes,
from
that's
where
theirs.
I am, looks to me like a Hex
It is.
Toys
It is.
logo.
That's their brand. Like, that's their branding thing.
Yeah, so this is a new Hex front end. It's got Ethereum, PulseChain. You can connect your wallet. See this thing here, 1,373 days. You know what? It's a fucking travesty that no one released Elite Coin on day 1337 of Hex. It's a fucking travesty that there wasn't an airdrop.
Like a meme coin.
Well, yeah. There should have been. Hey, someone should have thought of that.
And then
on day 1337, it should have been like an
airdrop to the sack list or something, or to Hex Bakers or something.
Or something like that. T-Bird saying no, it's not Hex Toys site. Okay.
What? So just stolen the brand, stolen the logo. Then
it just looks like it. Maybe it's not.
I agree with you, man. That favicon looks exactly like the one that they do. Oh, dude, it is. It totally is, man. Click. So, guys, go in. Like when you click to connect to the website, Rabby Wallet says Hex Toys. It absolutely is. So, like that, if you don't do it if you've got your wallet, like don't dox a wallet. But if you,
I don't have a wallet on this.
Oh, okay. I don't use hardware wallets on this machine. I don't use any of my real wallets on this machine, but I do have like the browser extensions installed. And so when I click on the connect thing, and I just have like empty soft wallets and shit like that, or nearly empty soft wallets just for clowning with. And so when I click connect wallet, it brings up Rabby, and down the very bottom, it says Hex Toys. So it absolutely is by them. Like it absolutely is.
So T-Bird, what makes you say it's not? Why do you say it's not a Hex Toys site? What makes you say that? Just out of interest. Maybe you're privy to something that we're not. But it just looks like that logo to me.
Yeah, it is.
So this T-share. So this isn't a new front end. So, and that's the thing. Like in Hex, there's like probably about 6 or 7 front ends that you can start and end stakes on, and then you can just go use Etherscan as well if you want, or hopefully soon a pulse scan version, which that's something that we were talking about this week in our chat. We were talking about how that's really something that I guess it's a bit hard to get adoption or much adoption, I think, if you haven't got like a functioning block explorer. Like
it's such it makes it a bit hard. It's such an impact to adoption for PulseChain, because anyone who's serious about doing any shit, they need to be able to.
Luckily, we're not in the time of adoption right now.
In terms of market.
In terms of like where we are,
that maybe makes it even more important that the very, very, very few people that are actually still knocking around doing crypto, like it's almost like look at exchanges, right? They're like desperate for users and volume. It's like it's almost like it's more important, because in a bull market, no one cares, right? The price of Pulse is going to go to the moon, regardless.
Yeah, I know, but people can't even. If put it this way, if in the bull market is when you get the vast majority of people coming to interact with the chain.
Yeah.
If it's not there, then all those people will just never come back. They'll just be like, they just won't come back.
Ever. Yeah, good point. Good point. The biggest long-term impact, I agree with what you're saying. The biggest long-term impact to us missing out on our share of adoption will be if we do not have a decent block explorer by the time the bull market kicks in properly.
Having said that, I have found it difficult when I go to like use the block explorer.
On which chain?
On PulseChain.
On PulseChain, yeah.
And it doesn't give me some of the some of the tokens are just not in there. It doesn't like just give me accurate information. So at this point, I can't really trust the data that's in there.
Oh, bro, it's totally broken. Like, so I'll give you my example. Was the first time where it was like really critical for me to be able to use it as a block explorer, because prior to that, I had always just been like, oh, okay, it's not absolutely critical. There was something I had sacrificed for, and they've got a website that tells you what your SAC is. And I went to the website and put my address in, and it said that my SAC was $0. And I was like, what? Right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to have to go to the block explorer and give them the evidence that I sacked. And I go to the block explorer, and it's just not possible to do it. It's not possible. It is not currently possible for me to go and prove that I sacked for this project. And that's horrendous, man. That's absolutely horrendous. Yeah. Because it's like now
was that Lightbeam website up and running? Because I'm pretty sure that website was up and running at the very beginning of PulseChain. Lightbeam.xyz.
Lightbeam.
Because Lightbeam.xyz, it's a website where you can put in, and you put in your address, and it scans your. Actually, it may not tell you your pulse. It might only tell you your pulse X. I'm actually not sure if it tells you your pulse.
Oh, but this is a token scanner. But I needed blockchain evidence to prove that I'd sent into the SAC, though. So not just.
Oh, right.
Like this is just this is just a token scanner to tell you.
Wouldn't that blockchain evidence be on Etherscan though?
No. This SAC occurred on PulseChain.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
This was post-launch, a post-launch SAC. So
yeah, that makes it tough. So Otterscan doesn't have
the news
TXN, but doesn't Otterscan have the TXN?
But I hadn't kept those records because I didn't think it was going to go wrong.
Oh, right.
So I hadn't kept like so. I'm going from a position where I don't have any records, right? I trusted that it would be legit, that I'd just send the thing to the SAC and it would be fine, right? Maybe you could consider that to be too rookie-ish, right? Maybe if you're sacrificing, maybe it's your responsibility to keep better records. But I'm going in from a position of no records. But I know it's on the blockchain, right? There should be an immutable record of it somewhere. Then you're going back. But if the block explorer is busted, if it's just...
That's one of my favorite things about running a Bitcoin node, is that I have my own fucking block explorer.
Yeah.
My personal block explorer. That's one of my favorite things. And not only is it my personal block explorer, not that I have anything to block explore, but if I did, but it's what's good about it is the privacy. From a privacy perspective, I'm not going to someone else's website and them knowing that this IP address is not that they know my IP address. Like there's,
you're like just literally, it's like you checking your own local computer for the information. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that about having a Bitcoin node. It's actually probably the best reason to have one.
There's a lot less need for a block explorer in Bitcoin because you do a lot less on it. Like the transactions are a lot simpler. So usually in your wallet history, you can see what's going on anyway. It's when you're doing all funky stuff like swaps and all the other madness that goes on EVM chains that you really...
I wonder whether some of these nodes that we're running, like validators for PulseChain, dude,
this thing goes quick.
What are you talking about?
That token scanner you sent me.
Oh, right.
It just absolutely pounds through it.
I just finished this thought. But
welcome, Jexa. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, thanks,
what you're talking about.
Wouldn't it be nice if, like, our Ethereum nodes had also a block a block explorer in the same way that our Bitcoin nodes do? Because you have a Bitcoin, you run a Bitcoin node, and you have a block.
You can.
Can you?
You can run, yeah, well, as in like if you live in an area with like, if you live in Hong Kong and you're a multi-millionaire, then you can. Like, so you can run a full archival node on ETH if you've got the hardware and internet speed, and a bit like how people are running PulseChain validators. You can do it for ETH.
Yeah, I think ETH is, I think you need something ridiculous like 12 terabytes or something stupid, or
it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
But I guess a PulseChain full archival node would also be very large because it's got all the history of all of Ethereum as well. So
yeah. So I think that's what, I don't know if you guys were obviously just talking about this, but there was a bit of back and forth with Brett P and Dipcatcher.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That got me excited. That's what I was just about to say. Before 43 and I make it sound too like doom and gloom, like, oh, where's my block explorer? It looks like people are legitimately like working on this now as a matter of urgency. A little bit late, but we'll get there. Sorry,
I think
you go.
Well, everyone, a lot of people tried to find out alternatives in the beginning, so everyone reached out to the guys that do Etherscan because they do all the other EVMs, but they wanted your firstborn to do it. And actually, when I spoke to them, they said, "Oh no, I think they were just being dicks because of PulseChain."
Oh,
but they said, "Oh, we've got like a year delay before we could even look at it, or something like that."
What the hell?
Yeah. So it wasn't that people didn't try to reach out and do that.
Even if you want it, you can't buy it. Your money's no good here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was like $1 million or something stupid like that, and then they couldn't even touch it.
Dirty PulseChain.
Yeah, that's right.
Out of here.
So so I think that was part of the reason. Then everyone's looked at all the different alternatives, and I'd never even heard of that one that Dipcatcher put forward the other day, but I had a bit of a play around with their version. It looks pretty cool. Does everything it needs to. Yeah, you can interact with all the contracts and seems to do everything we need. So I think it's
9mm are also building something. That 9mm. And
what's the 9mm stuff? This is different to 9-inch, or
it's I think they mean 9mm like handgun 9mm.
Yeah.
They're not. I don't think they're associated with 9-inch or Hexy Bastard. They are.
That's confusing.
They're developing a block. They're developing a block explorer, and they've got some other stuff some other stuff they're doing as well. But the block explorer is the one that I was like hyper focused on, and they've got an alpha that people can test, but it doesn't do everything yet because it's not like it doesn't have the full history. Yeah. So it works well for if you've got a transaction that you've just put through and you want to have a better idea what's going on compared to the current available block explorers. But if you need to go back historically, like I did have to with that SAC situation, unfortunately, they said maybe within about 2 weeks that you will be able to do the task that I needed to do will be able to be done in 2 weeks, but I wanted to be able to do it like now.
Dipcatcher had made a good point. He said, it's great doing their own custom stuff, but you're going to need to have some pretty decent funding or at least a revenue stream to be able to keep developing that for yourself or for just one blockchain, which I guess you can sell to other blockchains eventually once you get the product right. His take was, if someone's already invested a substantial amount of development resources in doing something that's working on all these other chains, and they get the benefit of all these other chains funding further development, there's a pretty strong argument to go with someone like that. Yeah, you don't get the vertical integration, but you get the leverage off of a bigger team that's more deeply funded, and you get
does that
it was $50,000 a year, wasn't it?
Which I don't think is a massive amount.
So does that point to a specific solution, Jexa? Or is that the one that that Dipcatcher was actually talking about? Oh, okay,
yeah. So that's they've fired it up on base. I played with their one on ETH just to check out the HEX contract and see you could do everything with the contract and interact with it, and it's fine. It's got all the bells and whistles you need. So
for me personally, the thing that made me really happy was to see that there was a public interaction. But because one of the fears that people have is like, what happens if someone goes off and builds something and then they don't realize that the actual PulseChain dev team is about to release, and they go to all this time, effort, and money to bring something out, and then there's this other one that's actually better, or people, whatever, right? So it makes me very happy to know that these people are actually in communication with each other to stop any sort of like unnecessary redundancy, butthurt feelings, wasted capital, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey, look, if someone wants to go out there and build one themselves as well, have at it. I reckon having more than one block explorers.
Yeah, I think that was a comment I saw that Dipcatcher made. He said, do you only have one what was his example? Do you only have one way to look at something? It was like he was basically implying you can have more than one. It's okay.
Yeah. No, sooner the better. What I thought was interesting as well was Brett P's comment. He said everyone pushed and pushed and they were saying just release. We don't need it to be perfect, so we don't need all the bells and whistles. We'd rather have the chain launched in a bear market, and so we can use it and engage with it. And now everyone's saying, well, why isn't this perfect? And why isn't this working? Like, you can't have it both ways. Either you wait for everything to be perfect, or you get the shit out the door and then you keep building on it, which I think.
Yes, I saw that comment and I agree. It would be hypocritical. Yeah. It would be hypocritical. And I was definitely in the camp of, I really want this chain to launch. So now I'm like, okay, now that's because I didn't think of that, right? And now I realize, yep, okay, now I need to not be a hypocrite. If I just wanted the chain to launch, and it launched.
We are 3 months in. We're 3 months in. And I think we can all acknowledge now that after 3 months of fucking around and not being able to see shit that you need to see, we sort of need this.
And some would argue that a functioning block explorer actually technically should be part of MVP. Like, so
well, I think that's what we got. I think we got a minimum viable block explorer.
Well, that's what Otter Scan is. That's what Otter.
That's right.
That's because that works, right? But it's it's real basic, too basic. But hey, I've got a feeling this is going to get sorted pretty soon. And
yes, I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah. So, patience is a virtue.
Hey, have there been? I know Bluey's not here, but has there been any updates on that thing that? Because I saw that the HEX derivatives, what's it called, Acosa and Hedron and stuff, they pumped in price. Not necessarily immediately in the recent part, but at some point they just went on some moon run, did like a 2x or at least or something. It doesn't really matter. The point is, was that something to do with this thing that Alex is doing with that cross-chain thing? Was that just like pre-hype or?
Yeah, I don't know. I did notice that as well. So maybe, people were just being a little bit
jumping the gun on.
Yeah, jumping the gun and trying to front run that, I guess, in case for what.
And Maxi had a run as well. The HEX 15-year stake protocol.
So did Desi.
And Desi, yeah. So those ones had runs.
Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
Because did they have runs on which chain did they have runs? Because logic would dictate that they would have runs on Ethereum. Because if you're going to buy those tokens, you're going to buy them on Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is the chain where end stakes.
I think it was on ETH.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because
it makes sense.
I'm making an assumption here that my phone only notifies me. So I don't have an app. I don't have a portfolio tracker on my phone that does PulseChain shit yet. So if I see one of those little notifications like, hey, this coin has moved by 5% today, it usually has to be an ETH coin. So I think it was ETH based on that, because I do remember getting a notification about it going hard.
Do you know, like, I would like to do the maths on how much of a deal it is to get Maxi, because bear in mind, Maxi's already a year in, so it's still 9. You got 9 years to go in that stake. Sorry, not Maxi, Deci. You've got 9 years to go in that stake. But last time I checked, it was actually what 1 hex would get you 1 point something Maxi. I don't know how much it is now.
So just looking at
out.
I'm just on Deci on Ethereum. And it says PulseChain Uniswap. Eh? PulseChain to Uniswap. Hang on. That's really weird. Yeah, I'll have to hang on, I'm not sure what one I'm looking at here. I'll have to
I'll go and
it says Hex on Uniswap paired with Deci, but then it's got a PulseChain icon on it, so not sure what's going on there. But that one went on a 40% run over the last that was 45 days, but over the last this is all whack. 9 days. That's only done 15. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm looking at there, but it's still under its NAV, I think.
So if you're like, put it this way, if you're getting a 1-for-1 hex to Deci, you're still doing really good, because 1-to-1, just bear in mind those Deci were hex that was staked a year ago. So, you're looking in the low 20,000s, the mid to low 20,000s for T-share rate. So I'd like to do the maths on it to work out. I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on between now, what the T-share rate is now and what the T-share rate was when you bought it, if you're going 1-for-1, you're still getting a really good deal on the T-share rate, if that makes sense. Because you're buying T-shares from the past. You're not buying today's T-shares. You're buying T-shares from a year ago.
I'm just looking at Maxi on ETH.
Oh, yeah, yes. You're getting the share rate of ancient. You're getting an ancient share rate.
Maxi's actually done pretty well.
I really think the bull. So one of the problems with ARBs that are not automated by bots, right? So you've got bot ARBs, which is like within the market that it looks at all the dexes and there are bots that do that. So that keeps the market reasonably efficient when it comes to pricing of tokens relative to each other. However, these are not able to be botted, these ARBs, because this NAV that Jex is talking about, it's not something that a bot can really assess, and bots want instant gains, right? They don't understand delayed gratification. They're not waiting 15 years for the thing to be redeemable, that sort of thing. So bots, even if it could be coded, people wouldn't. So it takes a bull market, or it takes a more activity within the market for enough humans to actually be eyeballing these differences. Let's look at the relative values of these assets on that chain or from chain to chain. Now, there's that really good website that I think Crispy Man made, where it actually it shows all the different assets like Maxi, Deci, Lucky, etc. And it shows you how they are. So it gives you kind of like these percentages, like how under or overvalued they are compared chain to chain and also within chain. And so if enough activity comes, so these things, I imagine once market activity picks back up, these things will actually start to become more reasonable in terms of what their values are. And at the moment, they're further out of, some of them are further out of whack.
Maxi has now overshot to the upside. So it's now worth more than the NAV.
Really?
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let me check.
So it's up at 1.6. Is my understanding current NAV? Yeah.
By the way, like there's there are pools on PHUX, and by the way, I've decided I'm going to start spelling it out so that it doesn't sound like you're swearing when you say the name of the exchange. And because WePulse does these no swearing Twitter spaces, and I've kind of been getting into it, like just as a challenge. So like for someone who has culturally sworn my entire life, I think it's a cool challenge. But I've noticed that in that space, people are like blah 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 on fucks, and I'm like, wait, what? And then because you're like no one's swearing, and then anyway, there's a pool on fucks or PHUX that has all the different perpetuals in them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what you need is that's the pool you need. And if that gets fatter and fatter, then that is a good thing overall.
Yeah, I think that one's cool because then you get like, then if one of them just goes popping off or there's like a rebalancing or sort of thing, you're getting the volume and you're getting the whatever, the rebalancing or whatever.
Can I just go back to all of them?
Sorry, you go.
Can I just go back to the whole Maxi Desi thing? So I just had a look, and 100,000 hex would get you 60,000 Maxi, 60,470 Maxi.
Yep. So it's actually overshot.
But what's interesting is, like, Desi gets you like 1 hex, 100,000 hex is going to get you like. I should just end the stream and go buy Desi right now.
you're not going to say the numbers.
No, I'm just thinking. Because. All right, so how many T shares? What's the best amount of T shares? How many T shares could I get with 100,000 or with 1 million hex? Let's just say, how many T shares?
I haven't looked at that for a while, mate. You're testing me now.
What's the best?
My head is spinning.
Okay, this is one for the chat. All right, and I'm going to double check as well. If you have 1 million hex on Ethereum, 1 million hex, right? And you want to do a stake for 10 years. You want to get the maximum number of T shares possible. So you're going to do a 10-year stake.
I think 1 million hex is only $4,000, like just under $4,000.
1 million hex. You want to do 10 years. What's that? 3650 days. That'll get you 102 T shares.
Yep. I've got that. Right. So bear that in mind.
Damn.
Right. And if you were
bro, that's a lot of T shares. Like
but if you spent 1 million hex on Desi, you would, in 9 years, not 10 years, in 9 years, but you'd have 148 T shares.
Oh, and you can sell it at any time. Fully liquid.
Isn't that interesting?
Fully liquid, sell it at any time, unless you become such a whale in the project that you can't unload it.
It's highly, but you can, but you know what the thing is? The thing is that if you're willing to do that time, it's a really good deal.
If you were going to do a 10-year stake anyway,
it
would be worth looking at. So
and
you've still got that get out of jail. You really needed to liquidate, you would take a big haircut, but you could.
It's a 45% increase on your T shares. On your T shares, a 45% increase. That is
the perps have been underrated, I think. The perps have been underrated, and it's like
Desi's the most underrated because
it's also that group mentality, man, where it's like people, if say in this situation, someone look at what you've just said and be like, wait, if that's such a good deal, why aren't other people doing it? And so it breeds like uncertainty and confusion.
All right, so people if you compare it to Maxi, Yep. Just compare it to So the problem is what Ash is saying, the liquidity. That's the problem. Yeah. But go and see like, because I put in a million, hex, and it pumped out, and it said I would get 1,155,000 deci.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it said it would give me back.
I think it's going the other way. Like if you want to get rid of your deci, that's when you get a lot of slippage because the liquidity pool is so.
But bear this in mind. Even if you get slippage, if you get more than 1-for-1, if you're getting like a 15% increase, like just remember, people swapped at 1-for-1 at the time. When that actually happened, people went 1-for-1, and now that you're getting 15% increase, which converts into, if you want to compare it with T-shares now, turns into a 45% benefit for the people who are holding that. But you need to be willing to hold it if you want to.
But you know what would be the interesting thing though is when we turn around and the market gets a lot more liquidity in it, and I'm not just talking about Deci and Maxi, but everything. So you'll see everything will flood up, and there'll be a lot more liquidity flowing around the whole ecosystem. Then you will be able to move in and out of those a lot easier. It's just because everything's so thin at the moment.
Deci, and Deci as well. Think about this. Deci at the moment is like the best bargain out of all those perps. But as you get closer to the end stake, like as years come closer, I predict. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing as you get closer to that end stake date, it's going to come closer in line to its actual value of what it should be in terms of HEX, because right now it's a massive bargain. And
I think it's just a confidence thing. You wait; it'll change completely when confidence comes back into the market.
And I've just done myself a massive disservice. I've just thought that out on stream, and I didn't go and do it myself. I should have.
And also you're streaming to the larger channel as well, like as in, because if we were just on the smaller channel, it wouldn't be as dramatic. But yeah, I agree with Jexa. Like as in, it's gonna, because I believe we're already in a bull market, but price trajectory and network participation are two different things, right? We're still, because most people, as we know, come flooding back in once everything's just green, and everyone's telling their friends, oh my God, I just made all this money on this coin. That's when you get the flood of people back in. Even crypto natives who have gone touched grass. I find it humorous that people are like, oh, just shut your laptop and go and touch grass. I'm like, bro, this is the most important time to be paying attention.
Yeah.
This is where you build generational wealth, and you're telling people to shut the laptop and go out with their kids for go and touch grass. I know that you need to intermittently touch grass, right? Like I'll do it once every 2 weeks, but it's not the time to be telling people generically to touch grass as the solution. It's pay attention, double down, not necessarily financially. I mean that in attention and effort and everything.
But by the way, that is not financial advice. Don't write in the chat that you're buying what I said. I'm just saying, it just seems like a good deal. Like, it seems like it.
43 just had a lot of Deci you needed to unload, don't you?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's the value you get is twice as good as Maxi, because Maxi is you get 60,000 per 100,000. You only get 60,000 Maxi per 100,000 HEX, but you get 118 or 120,000 Deci for 100,000 HEX. It's like double as, so.
It's a nice little bit of a buffer in that, isn't it? Bit of instant profit.
Especially if you want to take it to the end. Like if you're going to take it to the end, compared to just staking that HEX, you could just swap it for Deci.
Yep.
But there are some. Can I just say there are some HEX OGs that they're going to hate me saying that shit. But fuck it, it's a reality. It is what it is. Okay. Why not take the best deal that you can get in terms of T-shares? T-shares are king in the HEX ecosystem.
I don't think HEX people would have a problem with that, because it's like Or you're saying the real hardcore maxis that even think that like tightly hex related products are like also not hex. You're talking like the most extreme end of the spectrum of maxiness. 43?
Sorry, I was just reading.
Anyway.
Sorry, bro. No, what did you say? What did you say?
I said you must be talking about like the most extreme end of the spectrum of maxis, because most hex people consider the derivatives to be legit.
Yeah. But I remember the arguments prior to them coming out saying, "Oh, they're just going to take away from the adoption of hex because people will be trading that." But it is what it is. There's still hex stakes. They're just tokenized hex stakes, and I absolutely deny. Categorically deny that I am an LP provider. These guys are testament. I do not do that. I do not do any LP stuff. It's not in my wheelhouse of stuff that I do.
Yeah,
right, Jet?
It's the correct mindset. It's the correct mindset to assume that people are, if someone's talking about a coin, that they're bag biased. But in this case, I'm confident that that's not what Day 43 is doing. We were thinking through like from a hex perspective and trying to talk about hex and looking at these things.
Something else that's a bit of a segue, but we'll lead back around to this. I haven't been paying attention. I think you may have been a little bit more tangent, possibly 43 as well. And that's the Tetra protocol. Do we know?
Is it out yet?
I'm not sure. I thought I heard you guys whispering about it in the back.
5 days late. 5 days late. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know when it's going.
So I was hanging out to use it. I was hanging out to use it for a specific purpose, and now that purpose has passed. But I'm still keen for it to launch, even though that thing I wanted to use it for is no longer
Louis
a thing.
and I did a stream with one of the guys on the Not Hex show, and so they talked about it. I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't heard if it's out, but as I understand it, it is software that you would run. It's desktop software.
Okay,
that's my understanding of it. It's for your desktop.
But is it not the protocol that is using hex-based assets for lending? Is that, or am I off the mark on that one?
Have you ever heard of the app called Tasker? Have you ever heard of that app on an Android? No. It's an app where you can link up functions in the phone. Like you can go into like a different app and add this function that it does this.
That's right. This one was the recipe book one.
It's you can just like add function upon function.
Zapier sort of thing.
I'll give you an example. I used this when I went overseas. I had an Australian mobile number, which it wouldn't work overseas without me paying like $20 a day or some ridiculous thing. So I just left it in Australia in a phone that was always plugged in, and I set up this Tasker app, which would automatically take my text messages and then email them to me. So it would do. So just imagine Tetra being able to do that sort of stuff, but for the blockchain, automated.
So that already exists in. Can't remember what the protocol is on ETH, but you just drag and drop blocks in to. You might want to do a flash loan to do something on liquid loans. So you might want to borrow some stable coin in a flash loan to pay off your vault, to release your collateral, and you do it all in one transaction with no risk. So I think if it works, I reckon it'll be pretty cool. There'll be some good stuff you can do with it. But but the only downside with those particular tools, not necessarily a downside, but you've got to do it all within a smart contract. So you're not custodying your assets on your hardware wallet per se. You've got that smart contract risk. That's probably the only risk with stuff like that.
but it's also, there's stuff that's, I think there's code that you run on your computer as well.
Right. Okay. So that's what, like something that automates the actual job.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah. So it's and I don't think that code is available yet. So
Right.
and I don't even know that it's open source. Like I don't know if it's going to be available. Like I don't know anything about it.
So I was off the mark because I thought that was the one that done the HEX based collateral lending. But so what was that? Because there was another one that was doing that. It came in my inbox at one point, and then I didn't get around to checking it out. But some guys were building that one as well. Yeah, not familiar with that one. I could go back and dig out what it was, but I know someone was building sort of like a lending protocol for HEX based stuff, and it was going to do Hedron and the perps and everything.
Isn't Fiat doing that?
I don't know what they include on that one. What you can use as collateral.
I think you can use HEX.
Yeah, but I don't think you could. This one was doing like bloody HSIs, and I was going to do the whole box of dice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know whether they kept going with it or not. But yeah, I haven't checked the fiat stuff to know. Has anyone in chat used any of the fiat stuff? That's available now, isn't it, for the lending, or is that still not activated yet?
Can I total like different topic, has nothing to do with talking about, but it just came to mind. Have you guys seen all the backtracking? I'm not going to say any of the trigger words, but have you seen all the backtracking by like cuck politicians in the last week that make me want to throw up on myself? Like the backtracking, the backpedaling.
I retweeted something that Jexa posted about that.
Yeah, that wasn't the first one either.
About the gaslighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on in Australia. That one was from New Zealand. But there's a lot going on in Australia as well.
Even Trudeau was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so disgusting.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Buckle up, guys, because we're in for round 2, it seems.
You reckon?
Not me. I won't be doing any of that shit.
Yeah, no, yeah. And that's what I really hope. I hope no one will be. That was the point of my retweeting of that. Was I hope everyone's learned this time.
Learn the lesson. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna be like, don't worry, I'm not gonna say any buzzwords. I'm gonna be like, yo, last time you had to pick up a history book so it's like, dude, pick up a history book. But this time it's gonna be like, dude, can you please just remember like back like a freaking less than 2 years ago? Like you don't even need a history book this time. Please, guys, please.
Can I just say that sometimes I feel like I live in an alternate universe because people who I speak to, like you guys, we're 150%, 200% on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? We're all on the same page. And then I talk to like a teacher mate who's like mates for many, many years. And I listen to them and they're like, what's the big problem? Like, what's the problem? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and it's just they're in a different lane at a different speed going in a different direction, like mentally.
Yep. Oh, we need to talk about Vitalik dumping his MakerDAO tokens. We have to talk about stable coins and the implications there. I'm almost about to give up on stable coins. Like I want the coast to coast.
So what's wrong with bridged in ones?
Well, I mean, you're kind of subject.
Risk, that's all. Yeah.
You've got bridge risk, but you've also got you've also got anything that you don't like about the coin on Ethereum, like whether it's centralized or whatever.
You bring that with you.
It's the same problem, right? Like, as in, you've got all the risks of the coin if you were, it's in its original form on ETH, plus the bridge risk.
So they, I mean, they could basically destroy the tokens that are locked at the bridge, basically.
That would
HEX,
that would be a big move. I don't think that would do that.
But is that the concern that you're saying, like they could do that? Because I don't think they would do that.
No, I don't think that's the concern. Unless
they've never done that.
Unless like it's an OFAC type thing where they
where they're forced to.
How many tokens are bridged all over the place, like stable coins, and I've never heard of that happening.
Oh no, I don't think that's the issue. More what Tangent said, the issue is whatever is the inherent risk in those coins, the centralization risk or the counterparty risk, you bring that over. So they're not, let's face it, they're a necessary evil at the moment. I don't think anyone actually likes the way they work at the moment, but we don't, in lieu of having something that scales really quickly.
So I'd like to see everyone using Coast, because
Coast have admin keys.
They have to. They're going to have some way to do it.
Yeah, because they're interacting with legacy. Yeah, they're interacting with legacy finance.
Yeah. Now they may be, they may have less that they can do, but if they're in the same boat, if they get told to shut it all down, they'll have to shut it down. That's just the world they live in. I think theirs is a lot better in the way they've done it from the onset. So I hope they go really, really well. I really do, and I think they will as more inflows start to come in. I think they'll do really well, and I wish them all the best. I really do.
So, by the way, there were periods where you could get Coast at like 10%, maybe not 10%, but like I think 5%, 6% discount for a redeemable stable coin. So that was a bit of a no-brainer for anyone who was there. But I think the fear at the time was because it was so new, there wasn't a huge amount of liquidity. And so some people were like, well, this is low liquidity. It's not holding its peg perfectly well and stuff like that. So for people that took that risk, basically made 6% on a stable coin, like you're getting like 6% on dollars. I thought that was a pretty easy play.
Did you guys hear about ETH fairly unknown chain shut off the HEX contract functions?
How could they even do that?
Fair.
I don't understand how they could.
You can't end stake, or you can't end stake or stake.
How
crazy.
That doesn't.
So you can't use because you could use app.icosa.pro, I think, to do that stuff. I'm not sure. Can you not do that?
I never went on that chain. I was never a fan. Like I only ever went on ETH proof of work.
Exactly. No one even knew about this chain. That's why I call it ETH fairly unknown.
Some people did go on it because they thought that it was going to do another ETH proof of work, because ETH proof of work was fairly successful. People made money off the bat. And so people thought that was just going to be like another repeat of it. And it was a fail.
Yeah.
But,
I
mean, depending on your scale, relatively speaking, they were both failures. So far.
They're just not mining.
I still like ETH proof of work as a redundancy.
The HEX contract from being mined. How is that? So can I just say that means that chain? That means that chain is shit. Because they can censor shit. So fuck it off, dude. Like
they must have like a majority of the mining power or some shit. Like they must have. Yeah. If you're able to censor the chain, because it's a proof of work fork, so it shouldn't be censorable.
Yeah.
But if they've got it in a way that's censorable, they obviously have the majority of the mining power, which doesn't surprise me because the mining power on that chain will be like nearly zero. Because most of the proof of work miners, most of the GPU miners went to ETH proof of work, not there. So it's a bit like, as you go down the Bitcoin forks, they have less and less hash power, and then you can just. So I might just go on 51% attack their chain. See ya.
Yeah.
Right. So you know what I mean?
Like that.
How do they know there isn't a HEX person, i.e., me, who may or may not have enough hash power to probably just 51% attack their chain? See ya. Bye bye. So you stop HEX, I stop your entire chain. See ya. Bye.
I would just ignore them. They'll go away.
It's a bit dumb because that would have been one of the things that was actually active on their chain. Like the HEX community sort of like actively went to these chains and was the highest volume pairs and that sort of thing. So for them to do that, it's like kind of the shoot yourself in the foot thing.
So how does that show up as a transaction, Briz? Like it just sits there pending, just sits in the mempool or something? It'd be interesting to see how they're doing that, because it would have to just
would it
sit
be
there.
miners? Would it be miners?
I think they must have majority mining.
Must be at the miner level, just not doing anything with that contract.
Not picking up the transaction. That's the only thing they could do, is just see that whoever's building a block.
But you could mine your own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you mine your own?
If you guys are on ETH Fair, then maybe move your shit, because I'm about to go and look up how much hash rate they have. If I get time, I'm going to do that math, man. I'm going to do that math.
Is it really worth it?
In the Bitcoin space, if you're on the bigger chain, any decent scale miner on the main chain can just easily 51% attack the lower chains. Like, just easy.
Be interesting to see if you can actually do a send, Briz, if you could just do an easy send of HEX from one place to another. That would be a cheap way to see whether they're blocking interacting with the contract at all.
And by the way,
rather than end a 3-year-old stake.
It doesn't even need to be someone who's got GPU rigs. It could just be anyone anyone that's rich can just go and go on NiceHash, and you just go, okay, I'm just going to rent enough hash rate for like a couple of days and just completely obliterate this chain.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone would even notice.
Well, so say someone was dirty about the fact that they've actually specifically targeted a coin that. So say you're rich and you're a hexagon and you just want to send a message. Don't censor our shit. Right?
Oh, you know what it could be? It could be like if they're using MEV bots. And they've seen the SEC thing, so they've just as a preventative thing there, which they shouldn't do anyway, but as a preventative thing they're saying,
Imagine
front end
making a blockchain and then trying
all
to
of those chains. So the front ends are available for you to actually work on those chains. And it's not like they would have had so much activity that the blocks were full and they were like, let's block these guys. It's like it will be a ghost chain.
They're acting just like a bank. They're acting just like a bank.
So stupid.
Man, it's so dumb.
It just shows that whoever has majority mining power obviously doesn't like HEX and thinks that it has some.
No, it just shows that their crypto basics are non-existent. No, they haven't got like the basics of crypto. They haven't even got the basics of crypto down. Which is
where do you even view transactions on ETH Fair now?
I don't know.
Can I say we've been talking about this for like fucking 4.5 minutes, and it's like
Can I mention? Someone commented that we had over 1,000 people waiting for the stream to start, because you know how we rock that, right?
No.
So, there was a comment that said there's over 1,000 people waiting for you guys. Like, hurry up.
It must.
We were like 16 minutes. We were like 16 minutes late, which is pretty crazy. It's one of our longer delays.
I'm thinking of making how we used to have in the HEX Late Show, we used to have different segments. Remember, we used to have bitch tits of the week. We used to have hexagon of the week.
Yeah.
So
that would require us being organized, though.
For Father's Day, no, I've got a really good one. For Father's Day, I got a deck of cards called Dad Jokes. So I thought this is a really easy one. I could just read a dad joke once a week. I could read a new dad joke. So you want to hear a dad joke? You want to hear one? I know how much you guys want to hear this. Okay. Why do dads take an extra pair of socks when they play golf?
In case they
get a hole in one. You liked
Bro,
it. Come on.
bro, I'm gonna go and buy I'm gonna go to like a $2 store or whatever and get all like the Christmas crackers like out of season. And I'm gonna do, my segment is gonna be Christmas cracker jokes. They're gonna be even worse. So like just
Let's do it. Let's do it. But I got a whole deck of these bastards, so
So it looks like someone's testing all the transactions on that other chain anyway. I can just see someone 34 seconds ago sent. So someone's doxed themselves here. So anyone in chat, we can line it up with who sent something 34 seconds ago.
bro,
hey, we were over 100 viewers until I told that joke. Now we're under 100 viewers.
yeah, people left to avoid hearing it. It's
Yeah,
like
they
if
do.
I'm in a Twitter space or something and someone starts talking about highest of stakes movie, I'm just like, leave. Like I don't even wait to see whether it sounds like they're gonna plot spoil. I'm just like out. Straight out.
Yeah. I've had to leave a few streams.
Yep.
Listening to a few
I'm
streams.
just like boom, end, done.
Yep. I do that as well. Hey, I've got a clip here. I'll play it. It's about like banks and all that sort of stuff. So
Cool.
let me just throw it up.
What happened the last time America ended the Fed? Since our founding, America has had a total of 4 central banks. We shut 3 down, 1 to go. The last time was Andrew Jackson closing the second bank in the United States in 1836, and it gives us a roadmap for how to end our Fed. The second bank had been set up in 1816, and like all central banks, its purpose was to counterfeit money in return for financing government debt. This is great for governments who get cheap money. It's great for bankers who could do print money, but it does have the unfortunate side effect of setting off a boom-bust cycle of first inflation, then depression, then bailout. In fact, the second bank managed this over and over, each time pissing off voters more and more. Of course, the bank had bought a lot of friends in Congress. Money printers do that. So it took the firebrand Andrew Jackson, the Donald Trump of his day, to make it finally happen. First, Jackson drained government deposits out of the bank. The second bank retaliated, though, by calling in loans nationwide, trying to spark a depression that would be blamed on Jackson. It backfired, the public was enraged, and even Congress could not save the central bank. It was closed. So what happened next? Jackson ramped up land sales to pay off the national debt for the first and only time in U.S. history. Regional wildcat banks pumped out fractional reserve money, driving a land frenzy, and to end that, Jackson required land payment in gold and silver. That finally broke the inflationists. The end of cheap money drove almost half of America's banks out of business, about 400 in all. The vast majority were those new wildcat banks, but even the New York major banks stopped redeeming dollars and gold, effectively declaring bankruptcy. We now had all the pieces for a written bank was dead. The gambler banks had been purged. The national debt was even paid off. If at that point the government had done nothing, we would finally have a sound banking system, sound dollar, and an end to the boom-bust cycles. Unfortunately, by that point, Andrew Jackson was out of office. The cronies were back, and President Van Buren allowed failed banks to keep operating without redeeming the 1800s version of a bank bailout. That continued for another 40 years, boom-bust after boom-bust, punctuated by Lincoln's hyperinflation. Now, proponents of hard money did have one big win, putting the country back on a gold standard in 1879, which ushered in the greatest golden age in U.S. history. Alas, that ended in 1907 when a conspiracy of New York bankers failed to corner copper and collapsed. They were bailed out by the nation's ruling oligarch, J.P. Morgan, who decided he would like the taxpayers to do it next time. And so was born the Federal Reserve, that creature of Jekyll Island, the inflation and bailout machine brought back to life. The biggest lesson of the second bank is that we can absolutely end the Fed. It's been done 3 times and counting, but it will only happen if regular people understand what the Fed does, that inflation, recessions, even bank crashes are not normal economic phenomena. They're not animal spirits. They're not greedy workers. They are the product of the Fed. They are what it does for a living. Read the full article at profsaintange.com. We'll be watching. See you next time.
Yo, crazy, crazy,
History,
crazy
nice history
concise,
lesson.
crazy concise, man. That's
Yeah,
wild.
that is someone that people should follow on Twitter. That guy's
What's his
always
handle?
got Peter. I'm not sure how he pronounces it. Peter Stong, Stonge. I think. Is it Peter Stong?
What happened the last?
Let me see.
I'll follow that guy for sure.
Peter, is it Peter Stonge or Stong?
Stonge or Stong?
Yeah, not sure.
Stongy.
Stongy, mate.
He's could be an Aussie. There's another chap I was listening to today. I'm going to dig up his one as well. He was like really well known in traditional finance. Was like all the central banks would come to this guy for running scenarios, and he'd predicted the collapse of Russia, a few other economies right before they happen, and he's sort of fallen off the radar now. But he's worth a listen to now, and he talks a lot about central bank digital currencies and how bad they are and stuff like that. And I thought, and I was just listening to him, and then they asked him about Bitcoin, and I thought he'd be, no, that's all good, and he just fucking roasted Bitcoin and cryptos as well. But he'd be someone that would be worth and I don't know whether
a debate with.
Well, not even a debate, but a discussion, because I think he looked at Bitcoin and cryptos, and he just seen them as, well, his theory was Bitcoin was invented by a government agency anyway, because they wanted to usher in transparency on transactions and full tracking and things like that. But I think he's just probably a little bit misinformed as to what all these other alternatives are out there that get around that, with the likes of Monero and things like that. But he seems like a really, really switched on guy. It would be awesome to get him into the world of crypto and have a chat with a few people here and just see what his thoughts are now. I'll dig it out for you. I just stumbled across him on YouTube, but while we're having a chat, I'll figure it out, because he was good. Let me just see my searches. Martin Armstrong, I think it is. Let me just double check.
I like it, Finbear. I like it. How do you know if a zombie is vegan? He keeps asking for grains.
Martin Armstrong Economics.
The dad joke. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's right. I'll put it in chat, because this is worth checking out.
So there's this other website. Have you guys Armstrong Economics? Yeah,
if you just Googling, or just put him into YouTube, and he hasn't done anything super recent. Like, I think he was the Ducks Nuts back in the day, and I think he fell out of favor with a lot of the central banks and the like, just because of his views on things. But yeah, very interesting guy.
So have you guys seen this website? This one here? tsharedata.com.
No.
This is Ethereum live data. Currently 0.38 of a cent on Ethereum for HEX. T-share price is $111. T-share rate 29,197 HEX per T-share, and the daily payout is 6.6. It's got a COSA premium. Oh, what's this? What's this calculator? I'm gonna have to go back and have a play with this. I've got no idea what this does.
So what's all the things down the side? It's got all the icons of all the other assets as well. Is this? What are we looking at here?
What's this do? I don't know. Good question.
It's hard to keep up with all the tools and stuff floating around now.
This has got a lot of stuff on it. This is the PulseChain. It's is this the PulseChain chart right here?
I can't sort of see it, but it looks about.
You
right.
guys,
Yeah,
you can't see
right.
that.
Oh, I can see it, but it's just very small writing. But it looks about right.
Yeah. It's going down and to the right.
Yep. Well, no, we're kicking up at the end there, aren't we? That's a good sign, isn't it?
Where? No.
Just,
No, we're pretty down.
Have we got a bottom there? Is that a bottom?
Yeah, we're at 0.00037. Yeah. That's pretty low on PulseChain at the moment, aren't we?
I think we're pretty low on everything at the moment. I've been listening to a lot of macro stuff at the moment, and it looks so bad that it's actually good. Does that make sense? So it's so far in the toilet that it's going to be good for risk on assets, I think. They're going to have to start pumping things again. So hopefully...
Oh, you reckon? You reckon we're at that point? We're at the end of the depression part where they're going to have to start printing money?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's... The general feel I'm getting is sort of before the end of this year, people are saying, they're going to have to start letting it fly again. So, see what happens.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yes. I'm so keen for that. Please, God.
So
we need them to turn those money printers back on.
I think they got no choice, buddy. I think they have to.
Yeah, they have to. They absolutely have to. They're backed into a corner. There's no other way. They can't. How else are they going to pay that debt? So it's pretty much guaranteed. But we also need it badly. We need it bad.
Yeah.
You think they're not going to string it out a bit longer? I don't see enough pain out there.
If they want to wreck my crypto portfolio a bit harder, they could drag it out a bit longer. But they're like Jexa says, they're on the clock, bro. Like, as in, there's a limit, right, to how long they can do that for.
I like Briz's comment. Would you guys be willing to wear the mask if the govs turn the money printers back on? That's
what? No.
That it was funny though. That's when we had I don't know about you guys. We were in our own little bubble when everything was doom and gloom and everyone was running around trying to find toilet paper. That was when the market was just going ballistic.
Oh, by the way, yeah, I want to I'll let you go, Jexa, but I want to clarify something. That my shit was not appeal to authority, appeal to like governments coming to save us or any crap like that. I just know that we need a catalyst to turn this, to really turn the heat up on the crypto market. And then I think this is likely the last time that we're going to need it before people will realize that this is the better system. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, as in, it's just that we're down, we've got that chicken egg problem again, where it's like, for people to realize that this is the better system, that the hype needs to come back over to here, and we can't do that without them doing that. So, or some other catalyst, but that's probably going to be a big one.
Yeah. I'm less and less on the thought process of everything's got to implode for us to succeed. I think you're just going to run two separate systems alongside each other for a very long time, for probably longer than we'll be around. I don't think it's going to be like one crushes the other and crypto takes over. I just can't see that happening, and there's too many interconnects between everything now. I think this is more like akin to the, I guess the not the .com boom, but I guess the growth of the internet and things like that, where we didn't get rid of books and all that sort of stuff. It was just supplementary to it all. So I think we're in the right place.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
Forget that I said anything about it, because I don't want people to think I'm like cheering for government printing, which is like always horrific.
I got a question for you guys.
I agree with what Jex has said. I agree with what Jex has said, 100%.
I'm not sure that you want to be like on live stream answering the question, but I'm gonna.
What question?
What are your thoughts on the voice referendum?
Unfamiliar with this. What you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm probably ignorant of a lot of the.
Sorry, go on.
I said I'm unfamiliar with what you're talking about.
Yeah. So Tanger's been spending a lot of time in spaces and doesn't really know what's going on in the real world, and neither do I, to be honest, because I don't watch mainstream.
So you guys don't know anything about this. There's a referendum. There's a referendum in Australia that's coming up, and you guys both know nothing about it.
I know enough, but I don't know all the nitty gritty detail about everything.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's okay, because neither does our Prime Minister, who hasn't read. Who hasn't read a lot of the critical information relating to it.
I think I've already formed an opinion on which way I'll vote, but I'm happy to take on more information. What was interesting, though, it did make me go and actually download a copy of our Constitution and just have a look through that. And I've realised how shit that is, to be honest. That's got nothing like the US has got in terms of protections for us or anything like that. It's fucking crap. So yeah, that was a bit of a wake-up call. So I did take a little bit of effort to go and find out what was going on.
Let me just explain it for people watching. In Australia, we're going to have a referendum, which it's very interesting, right? So there's two camps. It's either you're for this change in our constitution, because it is a change to our constitution, or you're not for it. So it's going to be a yes or no thing. Just one question. And the question is, do we want to recognize... actually, I don't want to misrepresent what it is. So if you want to find out what this referendum is about, you can actually go and look up the Voice referendum in Australia, and you'll find out. So basically, there's a bit of text, and they want to amend our constitution with a piece of text. Now, where there's a bit of controversy in Australia, there's obviously those who are vehemently against it, as there always are, and there are those who are for it. The ones who are for it seem to be just, I think it almost feels like propaganda.
It seems to be the same people that were making everyone wear masks.
What's it generally relating to? Just in general.
It's changing the constitution to.
I didn't think we had a constitution.
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
So there's some text, and it's to put it very without very much resolution at all. It's recognizing the Aboriginal people as the first Australians and giving them a voice to Parliament.
Oh man, I can tell you how that is gonna get. Like, I can tell you the result right now. I can tell you the result of that.
What's the result?
With like 99.999 recurring % confidence.
Yeah. What's the result?
It'll be no.
I think
so. It'll be a no. It'll be a no.
So they're going. It's sort of very vague. The text is very vague. So the problem that the people have got a problem with it, me being one of them, and I've got a problem with it for a different reason to other people.
To most people, yeah.
My reason is because it implies that there's going to be more bureaucracy. It implies that there's going to be another body that
Also, it's more woke nonsense. It's this like.
I just don't want more. I want less.
Ignore meritocracy and
I want less politicians. I don't want more politicians.
Yeah.
I want less of these people. So
it's got. So Bud Light is the reason why the answer to this thing will be no, right? So you've got a small vocal minority that push all this woke nonsense, but the true feeling of the population gets voted when it's not out in public, and people don't want to get involved in that woke shit. Like people are too scared to add their voice to the anti-woke side because you know that you just get attacked and death threats and all that stuff. So most people stay silent. But when they can vote privately, either with their economic energy or with a scorecard in a booth, I bet with like 99.9% certainty that this will be a no.
I think my reasons, I reckon, line up somewhat similar to 43's, I think, is the propaganda that's being pushed for the yes side tends to make you think, okay, well, what's really going on if they're rolling out this massive budget to market it. And so
if you're gonna say, 43, you don't care about Aboriginal affairs in Australia.
I don't think
that's not.
No, it's the opposite.
If you're asking me, should we be spending lots of money to fix the problems?
Bro, this is the entire problem with woke culture. They pick something that makes it sound like if you don't agree with them, then you are being a racist,
you're a cunt,
or you're being a homophobe, or you're being a transphobe, whatever, right? So they pick this thing and then they conflate the actual issue with this thing that they basically make it sound like, well, you don't you agree with this, right? And you're like, yes. And you're like, well, then you agree with this. And you're like, no, you're doing a logical leap of faith. So I can actually be logically consistent and not be a racist, but also still disagree with your nonsense. And so this is just another example of that. It pisses me off. It's so annoying.
Do you know what the funniest thing out of all of that is? It was when the Prime Minister went on a radio show, and they asked him if he'd read the Uluru Statement from the Heart, and he's like, "No, I haven't read it."
Well, I appreciate the honesty. That's pretty rare for a politician.
Yo, that's honest.
No,
super rare.
And then he followed it up with, "Why would I?"
It's like the night he got elected, though, he said that he was gonna he was gonna
Does he mean he's got people to read it for him? Like, does he?
Oh, I got no
Dude,
idea.
he should have read it.
I'm just gonna paste it into ChatGPT and get a summary or something.
It's 26 pages. It's like he should have read it.
By the way, I retract saying that I'm pissed off and that it's annoying. I don't allow things like this to actually impact my emotional state.
Yeah.
But it is dumb, but it doesn't.
I just want to say this? If I'm for constitutional recognition, I'm for that. I'm not for some vague wording that is going to Trojan horse some shit into our democracy. You know, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like this is just some, like, they're going to usher in some other shit that we didn't ask for later on. You know, that's what it feels like to me. I don't know about you guys.
I think it's pretty obvious when people like Anthony Mundine are coming out against it. So these are prominent Aboriginal people in their community. They're coming out and saying they don't want a part of it. So yeah, interesting to see people like that come out and talk out against it. So you know where it's getting pushed from. It's like you say, the bureaucrats and the woke crew. So yeah, I think that will be a no, but let's see. I'm happy to take on more information, and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy to take on more information. But
my last prediction, I thought that Dan Andrews was out of Victoria. I mean, this is a different.
The same. People are fucking retarded, man.
So retarded.
Yeah. So it comes back to your comment where you said I think we live in an alternate universe because we think one way, but then a lot of the mainstream people that you bump into are just soak up whatever shit's put in front of them.
Look, I agree with this this comment here that you know, breaking the problems are, there's very, very tough problems. It's very, very difficult problems to solve. And if it was as simple as just throwing money at it, but clearly it's not that simple. So, but yeah, there shouldn't be. When you say there's kids in lots of kids in abusive situations and in poverty in Australia, it makes you double take. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be that way.
I don't think there's too many communities that don't have issues like that going on.
Yeah, I think it's important also that the two things like the referendum and that issue are not conflated.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You know, because
Agreed.
that's something that. Anyway, I was interested to know what you got because that's coming up. That referendum's coming up in the next month or two. I think they've set a date.
It's actually when the HEX meetup in Sydney is on that weekend.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know how I'm going to wrangle that one, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that's So it is very soon. For any Hexicans in Australia, the 14th of October. There's the HEX meetup in Sydney. So if you haven't heard about that, which I'm pretty sure everyone on this channel would have by now, hit up Sammy Chica. She's the lady in the know on all of that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
HEX meetup. Let me see. I think I've got something for that. Where is it? There we go. HEX meetup, October 13th, 14th, and 15th. So just DM Sammy Chica on Twitter. Or there's a Telegram. Is there a Telegram group or is it on Twitter?
It's on Twitter. It's
Twitter.
like a Twitter group thing in your messages. It's one of those things I rarely look at. I've got to be honest. I've got that many different chats and shit going on. That one tends to get hidden in the back a little bit with Twitter.
Yep. Yeah, so how long have we been going? It's almost
9:30 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Depending on how
we started a bit late, so we haven't quite we're still about 20 minutes off the 2 hours, but if you guys are good, then we can just wind it up now.
Yeah.
Any final words?
My fantasy situation is like PulseChain being the coin that goes up first, lifting everything up and getting the vibes correct, and then HEX shining as the value storage asset on the chain. That's my like macro hope for the chain. I think like I've just been continually impressed by what's being built on PulseChain, and it's sad that the price of PLS doesn't reflect the amazing. Like I see the fundamental improvements of what's going on chain is just getting better and better and better. We've got stuff on the chain that other chains don't have. To me, it's awesome. Like I use the chain every day and I love it. And when I go back over to do something on ETH, it's just horrendous. And I just hope that people realize that sooner rather than later, that we can get this thing, that we can just get this party started. And so everything's going to be fine. I mean, Richard Hart's still following me, so I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Like everything's fine.
Yeah, I guess my my follow up to that is not just in the PulseChain world, but there's a massive disconnect between value and
Yes.
price at the moment.
Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Richard Hart quote.
Yep. So, and this is, I've looked across all the ecosystems. Everyone's been beaten up, and that's when all the building's been happening over the last 3 years. I think we spoke about this a week or two ago. All teams have been building out over the bear market, so prices dipped well below what value's been built in to those protocols over that period of time. Inevitably, it'll turn around, it'll catch up, it'll overshoot, overcook, and it'll be way overvalued again, because that's what we do all the time. That's the way markets work. And then we'll do a whole nother cycle.
As soon as there's something that's undeniably unique to PulseChain, I think we already do have that with things like Pateas. That's the greatest DEX I've ever used ever in my entire life, right? Yeah. Like, I'm so impressed by it. And but as soon as we have other things that isn't just sort of like that, there's no subjectivity to it, right? Like, 'cause someone will be like, oh, we've got DEX aggregators on ETH as well, or whatever, right? As soon as there's something like, yo, you can do this thing on PulseChain and you cannot do that anywhere else, and it is amazing, and you have to get involved in this thing. I'm actually, you know what? I don't want to paint this like, I think people make the mistake often of like painting this like specific narrative of like, oh, this is what we need to do, and then everything's going to be like great, right? I don't want to do that, but that's what I foresee, is that there'll eventually be effectively like the killer app of PulseChain, where it's just like undeniably, like it's just an undeniable distinction from all other chains, and people will work it out.
Is Spillways working? You were looking at that a while back.
I haven't actually gone back to use it recently. Yes. Like, I've used it successfully once since I couldn't. Since that period where I was having trouble with the front end and it was throwing up an error, they fixed that, and now it works fine according to my last use of it.
Last time I looked at the contracts, I just did not see a lot of volume at all.
Oh, and by the way, there wasn't a relayer, so you had to be really, really careful that you have to. So you understand the problem with this, right? That it means that you need to connect from a different wallet, and then that wallet needs Pulse in it to be able to pay for the release of those coins, for it to actually be. Otherwise, it's always going to be linked back to a wallet that had funding in it. Now, that's not what you want for a protocol like this. You want relayers that can take money out of the note to pay for the so then you can go to a clean wallet that literally has no Pulse in it, no history. And they said that this was another chicken egg problem, where they said there's not enough people using it yet to justify running the relay, so they're leaving it like that for a bit. But without the relayer, that might mean that some people don't want to actually jump in. So we're looking at a anonymity set, getting the relayer set up. Again, it's another one of those things that if we were in a more active market,
it's a chicken and the egg
type
situation.
Exactly. So so technically we do have a privacy solution on chain, which is Spillways, and you know that dev's a Chad, like that dev's a G. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got? Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like I can't retain in my head all the cool stuff that's being built. It's just too much. It's just too much.
I can't keep up with it.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to Somi, because he goes hard with those with those videos on YouTube. He does like 2 or 3 a day. It feels like it's 2 or 3 a day. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think I definitely see sometimes 2 a day from him. Yeah.
He just pumps them. He pumps them. Look, Somi, I'm sure you use AI to help generate some of the content, dude.
Some people say he might have a team of people helping him or something.
I don't think you need a team. I'm sure you could just do it yourself with AI. I'm sure if you know how to use it, I think you could do it.
I think he's just I think he's just working hard, man. Like he's
machine, just absolute machine.
Yeah. Definitely. So, I got this from, and this is my closeout. In one of his streams, he was talking about like the talking points for Pulse.
Yep.
It's a first cycle coin. It's only had
Yes.
It's only got 10,000 users, daily users. Cardano went from 10,000 daily users to 140,000 at the top in 2021, and a few months ago was back to about 50,000. That's the sort of potential that PulseChain has in the next run. PulseX is like owning the casino, and the buy and burn is the hidden gem in that. And the other one, HEX.
Yeah, that first cycle layer 1, bro.
Yeah.
First cycle layer 1 with a strong community, dude. It's a no-brainer.
If you get your head above the SAC price or our all-time high, there's nothing. There's no way.
Yeah, it's going to be unstoppable, bro. It's going to be effing stoppable.
And then the narrative for HEX is, HEX is now second cycle, right? This is HEX's second cycle.
Is that good or bad? Is that good or bad?
Well, it's all about perspective. If you're going to compare it to Bitcoin, which is in its fourth cycle, it's fucking good.
Yeah. But also remember, HEX is one of the coins that's going to go up with PulseChain going up, right? It's going to get dragged up. So yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on both, but the thing that keeps me the most bullish on PulseChain is exactly what you just said, that there's never been an L1 in its first cycle that hasn't done psycho returns, and most of them are just ghost chains without any real bit. We've got cult-like community and real building with real shit on the chain. All of this cross-chain communities coming over to check it out and stuff like that, dude, it's going to be unstoppable. It's going to be absolutely unstoppable.
It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. We don't know.
Yeah, it's a time.
Macro has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, it's a time thing.
So
and also remember that
you have to be patient. We really do.
By the way, the rotation out of Jeets out, diamond handers in is actually what makes the upswing even more aggressive. So people that are dumping their bags for under SAC price, and by the way, we're now even under the whale SAC price, like the 2.5x bonus. You're even under that level, right? So every single transaction that is occurring now, where Pulse is changing hands, it's moving from someone who is underwater to someone who will instantaneously be in profit as soon as it moves up at all, right? So all the rotation that happens down here at this like crazy low below SAC price is basically you're forging diamond-handed holders who will just be like excited and in profit sooner. So this is, so the longer that we're down here, the more aggressive the upswing is going to be. Once we get, like Jexa said, once we move up above those levels and go into clean air. So dude, it's just, So we all know people should be getting increasingly bullish the longer that we're down here, but it just is painful. It's painful
because those green dillies really make you not want to sell, man.
Exactly.
When they start coming, I'm not joking. Like when they start coming, it's like you're like, oh, there's going to be another one. I don't want to sell yet. Like
the majority of people, the majority of people want to buy green candles. That's even the G'est of G's. I have been in crypto since 2012 and I still fall for that shit, right? Like, so it's not, no one's immune to it. No one. No one.
Exactly. Guys, we're gonna wind it up now. Go check out Tangent's stream, Dilly's Down Under.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
He reviews PRC 20s on PulseChain, obviously, and it's on the DeFi Down Under channel. So go check it out.
Sub to DeFi Down Under, please.
And smash your like. We'll catch you next week. Cheers.
See you guys.